Welcome to Leashed Dads podcast. We are two dedicated dads that get together to discuss our everyday lives while leashed to our parental responsibilities. That's Justin.
He is Jared.
Tonight's episode, we are continuing the infantry full force.
Part 2.
Because we kind of left off on some open subjects that, infants are massive. They're small, but they're a massive responsibility.
Well said. Well said.
So, well, before we get into that, how's your week been, man?
Oh, man. So weekly updates. I feel like everything is blurred together all of a sudden.
No
As,
shit.
yeah, I tried to compile a thing or things that had happened throughout this past week. It just didn't have everything just kind of blurred together. I did go up north to visit my wife's uncle.
Fun.
Yeah, it was a good 2 hour, like a 2.5, 2 hour, 10-minute drive. On our way there, I'm going to shout out to these people or to little kids that honestly love doing lemonade stands. While we were going up north, we stopped actually because Sam noticed it. We stopped at a lemonade stand and we provided them with support. Um, Sam handed me $5 and said, "Here you go. Go buy things." I spent all $5 on it to give those kids support, as you don't
Good.
see it out much anymore.
Nope.
So kudos to children out there that enjoy it. I actually want to. I would love to get my kids to do it. Um, and I think they've talked about wanting to do it. And our street is actually maybe perfect for it because it does get a lot of traffic through it. So maybe I can get one of these days we can get my kids to do it. So that was while we were going up north. I ended up. It's been a while. I'm happy I was able to do this again. I had the opportunity to drive some ATVs or four-wheelers. So
Sweet.
I was driving them around. I took uh, Kane, Arlo, and Nico all for rides individually, which was great. I think it was Nico and I, if I recall, we actually ended up stopping and finding a deer, and we watched it cross the road. Like I was still far enough away from it where you didn't watch it sprint off, but yet it watched us very cautiously, and we just watched it cross. It was pretty cool. And then we ended up turning around and coming back. So I didn't go very far, needless to say. I mean, far on an ATV, sure, but I was still trying to get comfortable with it again, as it's been a while since I've been able to do something like that. Last time I did that, I went up to a friend's land as well. More or less, like, they pay a way to go up there through some of their friends. Basically, they pay by cutting down wood or doing uh, work around the land as well. So that was like the last time, besides this time. So it's been a while. Friday, I ended up working a later shift, so worked from like 9:30 to 6 to cover in a friend's or a coworker's absence. But now, thankfully, we have a new hire that is fully dedicated to working 9 to 6, which they won't be starting till, I think, the beginning of next month. So, but once they get on board and go through all that, that's when we'll have them fully dedicated to that new shift. So, as far as parental responsibilities, while we were up north, we didn't do a very good job of bug spraying our children. It rained a lot. So,
Yeah.
when it rains and you don't necessarily cut your grass, I mean, my uncle didn't cut his grass because the kids love to catch toads. Uh, so he didn't cut the grass so the toads and frogs and animals would stay out because, amphibians, in a sense, they like to kind of be able to stay cool rather than dry up way too
Mm-hmm.
fast. Yeah, so we didn't do that. Well, unfortunately, it comes with long grass. Mosquitoes. My son Nico's neck is covered in mosquito bites.
Oh no.
Like, he's got mosquito bites around his like in the hairline,
Oh.
and then his neck is just covered in them. Oh my goodness, I felt so bad. I'm normally the one that gets eaten alive. Not today, not that weekend. He was, so that's unfortunate, but he's good now. Um, so we took care of that, and then yeah, it's just been kind of a normal work week here. I worked today with one of the newer hires that's currently going through some training. Just did some shadowing, and him and I actually uh, talked a bit before we did my shadowing with him or his shadowing with me. Um, but we're making that personal connection, and glad we did. So glad
Good.
it's always a good thing. Our boss wants us really to share our styles of when we talk to people on the phone, so he can kind of have his idea of knowing that not everybody is gray and doing the same thing. It just
Right.
would never be fun. So, yeah, I think our culture, our team culture, is actually very, very good at that in that sense. But that was my week. So, what about you, good sir? And what did you do this week as a parent or individual?
Wasn't that like my entire existence? Being a parent or an individual?
I mean, did you do anything fun this week as an individual?
Oh,
Did you do anything fun as a parent?
well, yeah.
You can keep two things separated.
So, well, you're right. Yes. Very busy work week. Trying to just let that be. I don't think it's ever not going to be busy. So, kind of been losing myself in the work again, and I don't know. I don't like it. But anyway, ready for the long weekend. 4th of July next week. Ready for it for sure. I need
I only
a
get the
little
fourth
break.
off, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Huh?
I only get one day off that week. I only get Tuesday off next
Oh,
week.
that stinks. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. But for an individual, I got myself some cigars. Like back in the old day, I used to have the occasional cigar to just hang out and chill. So gonna light some bonfires and some stogies, and
Nice.
gonna just chill in my yard, I guess.
Hmm?
But
Just be careful for the mosquitoes.
yeah, they haven't been too bad this year in our yard. Half our grass is dead, so that might help. But we always have cans upon cans of bug spray. I hate mosquito bites, so I load up every time go out at night. Saw The Flash on Saturday night with my wife. It was a good movie for DC. The only complaint that I would have is the CGI was probably better suited in the mid 2000s than in 2023.
So it kind
So
of reminds me
not
of
sure what happened there.
You say that, and all of a sudden my head goes to the Green Lantern. How bad that CGI was.
Yeah, I don't know what quite happened there. For reading all the articles I did leading up to the movie on how there was so many production problems and problems with the actors, I just think they kind of pulled something together at the last minute, and here you go, and moved on. Because honestly, I think that's what they're just trying to do with this whole extended universe thing in DC. Because now in the MCU, it's starting to fall flat. So, who knows?
There we go. Maybe we can do a comparison about those eventually. Just Leashed Dads doing
That sounds like an
comparisons.
idea. Yeah, that
I'll have
sounds
to
like an
brush up
idea,
on my
for
DC
sure.
movies, but
Yeah, I've seen them all. I've definitely seen them all. I don't think there's anyone that I haven't seen. I've seen both Justice Leagues. I own both. I'm gonna probably sell or give away my Joss Whedon Justice League or whatever his name is, and keep my Zack Snyder. So, because that's my favorite and preferred movie. But moving on from the Flash and all that entails, there's an event at Road America, which is a racetrack in Elkhart Lake called the June Sprints. A very long running, I think 65 plus years event. Annual in June, usually second week to third week in June. And it's for a club that I used to be a part of before I had kids called the SCCA, that's Sports Car Club of America. And I used to pit crew for one of the drivers in those races. And I brought the family in back out there this year on Saturday morning. It was brutally hot. No breeze whatsoever, and there's very little shade if you're in the paddock area, which is where all the cars go to get fixed and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
The girls had a great time. They were pretty well behaved despite the heat and a lot of the walking. Definitely going to rent some sort of golf cart next time. I don't mind the walking, but I feel bad for them because they're not used to it.
Don't feel bad.
Bring a stroller. Yeah.
You can't feel bad for that. They're young. They have legs.
Yeah, it's true. But no, they're warming up to the racetrack, and they get really excited when I bring it up. So I think I've done my job.
You're doing your job.
They like watching the cars and looking at them. So, yeah, that's my week.
Hey, I like it. And by the way, yes, if you have not noticed, there's a little infant around here. She's actually one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it. Really continue on and actually cause the first infant episode last week. I mean, she's one of those important things, like Jared mentioned before. Now, as far as that, proud daddy moments here. She keeps me full of proud daddy moments. But I'd have to say one of my proud daddy moments from last week or recently here is that the fact while we were up north, the kids did enjoy catching the frogs. And when I say they enjoyed catching the frogs, holy crap, they had a bucket full of frogs, or frogs, toads. They had, I didn't really count them, but they had all sizes. I'm talking like little ones that just probably finished their tadpole stage or whatever, and basically big ones. And my uncle-in-law, whatever, ended up finding like a fire snake. It's like a little tiny snake that's gray on the top, but red on the bottom.
Gotta look this up.
So it's like its belly is red. I think that's where it gets its name, fire snake, from. But he picked it up, and it was just squirming around. So I think it's it's wild, so it's going to be very squirmy. But yeah, I mean, the kids all enjoyed it. They didn't really run from it. Yeah, so they're pretty cool. We also ended up seeing a turtle twice, once on our way in, and then once on our way back, or back home. The kids more or less ended up getting out of the van, or the vehicle, the Ascent, to go pick up or touch the turtle after Sam had picked it up. And it was a snapping turtle. So, I mean, the turtle was, I think, trying to lay eggs and whatnot as well. So they enjoyed touching the shell, or the shell of the turtle and whatnot. So, proud daddy moment there is the fact that my kids actually do enjoy the outdoors and enjoy catching frogs or the wildlife, essentially, rather than always dealing with tamed life. They actually do take a liking to the snakes right now. So, like, we've seen traveling snake shows in the past. We went to a carnival once in a city near us, and we saw the traveling snake show there again, and they touched the snakes. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, that's my proud daddy moment. That's my proud daddy moments. What about you? I want to hear yours.
Nothing super emotional or super proud is the right word, but nothing groundbreaking. I noticed recently that the kids have been trying more food that we make for dinner instead of insisting on another form of food, another type of food for dinner. Eleanor, historically, in the last 2 years or so, hasn't eaten a burger of the patty. Okay?
Okay.
Regardless of where it comes from, who cooks it, bun, no burger, won't even touch it. And then tonight I cooked Impossible Burgers because we are a vegetarian house, except for when I have my craving for chicken thighs.
You should have that
She
more often.
mowed it down. Out of nowhere, just ate the whole damn thing. It's like, dang, girl. Gotta make you burgers more often then.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
But
you do.
They were good. They were good. So little proud moment, and then also them getting so excited to go to the racetrack also is a very proud daddy moment.
That's good. I'm glad.
It's a proud Donlin moment, actually.
The proud Donlin moment. Means you're getting everybody in there, huh?
Well, my entire family is are gearheads.
Yeah.
So the Donlins are.
The Donlins are the gearheads.
Yep.
So they're very proud that the girls are picking it up. Huh? I would be too, if I was a Donlin like that. So, no arguments there. I'm just proud that my kids want to really be outside and catch frogs. Or even today, I was actually proud that my Arlo wanted to go outside, and him and Nico both played in the backyard for like the first time on their own, because they know the rule.
Nice.
Like when mom and dad aren't around, or like I'm not around. By that I mean I'm working.
Right.
They can't go outside in the front yard, or if mom's not around. So if mom's gone, they can't go out in the front yard. We told them they can go in the backyard for safety purposes. Our gates and everything are, very safe. So they can go out. They can go there if they want to. But it was the first time that they actually decided to go out and play in the backyard, and I'm glad. So, yeah, I guess that's another proud moment there. But, speaking of proud moments, I was actually very happy when my daughter here decided to finally sleep through the night for the first time. Now, it's been a while since she's done that. But really bringing that up, I want to talk about, again, our infants here, infants out there, what to expect with them, more so, or what you might want to consider doing, or what you're currently doing, maybe as a refresher for the parents that are ready to be new parents yet again, such as myself, with my 6-month-old. Love her dearly. She's so cute. She knows it too, don't you?
She is. She wants to talk.
She does. She'll talk eventually here. You'll probably hear her, right? Yeah, look at that cute smile. But I really wanted to start off with like a sleeping and napping kind of setup. Sleep areas. So when it's bedtime and everything here, for the first few months, and I mean right now we still have, my baby girl here is 6 months old. Okay, we still have her sleeping in a bassinet next to our room, or next to our bed. That's for obvious reasons. We try to feed through breast, so breastfeeding, right? So when Sam is home, because from going back to work now, when she's home during the night or comes home during the night, she'll be available to breastfeed. But it's one of those things where we keep her close to the bassinet while she's feeding off the boob. She will eventually move to a crib. My guess is actually once she grows some teeth, because that's when we call it quits on the breastfeeding. So once eventually she has those teethers coming in, those baby teeth coming in, she will move to her crib in her own room, which is going to be a fun little, maybe scary moment for us as well, because who knows what it's going to be like for her. Being in our room for 6 months, and developing that kind of habit on her own, it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. It still means I'm going to give her nightly walks and getting her to fall asleep. but that'll also lead to transitioning into bottles and making sure she does go to sleep at a somewhat of a normal time. So, uh, but yeah, so sleeping areas, cribs, bassinets, totally acceptable, right?
Yeah.
If you have your playpens, whatnot as well, or if you're traveling, you definitely want probably something like a playpen or a bassinet for them to sleep in. Mainly a playpen for when they're older, since you can treat it or use it like a crib in a way. Um, so I would say when you do go on like family vacations or whatnot, and you still have your kid in their crib, find a traveling crib in a sense, like that playmat or whatnot. So,
Pack
what
and
are
play.
your
That's
what
what
are
we
your,
call
yeah,
it.
your pack and plays? That's what it is. Don't do that, silly girl. Um, what about you? What are your thoughts on some like sleeping habits and or areas?
Well, the sleeping areas, you covered it very well. You want to keep the newborn in a bassinet next to your bed until they either are A, sleeping through the night, or B, done breastfeeding, or just feeding in the middle of the night in general. And also keep an eye on the weight restrictions as well as the age restrictions for those bassinets that come from the factory. Best to keep an eye on those as well.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to end up using that 20 pound baby sounds big. You get what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
Anyway, as far as habits goes, each child is different, so it's hard to say what to do in an ideal situation because there's no situation like the other one. You could get lucky and have the same kid or the same problems with both kids, but uh, we had actually got Eleanor to sleep in her own bed through the night. Of course, right before Cora was born. And
Okay.
then when Cora was born, it all went to hell.
Mm.
So, our family is so weird. My wife and I, our kids still don't sleep all the way through the night. In the past month, I say we've gotten an increase about 50% more nights slept through in their own beds. And people can cast their judgments on us all they want, but if they're waking up in the middle of the night, we're just letting them sleep in our bed. Now, don't cast your hate and judge because in order for us to go try and put them back asleep, we're spending 45 minutes to a half an hour plus not sleeping ourselves and putting our own bodies in some sort of peril because my wife and I both have bad backs. We both have bad hips, knees. And to sleep or lay on a floor for 45 minutes, let alone an hour, is it's painful. Like literally painful. So we kind of stopped early on trying to lay next to them at night in their room, trying to get
Mm-hmm.
them to go back to sleep. A, because it wasn't comfortable for us, and B, in the morning when we had to go to work, it was just it was hell. And then we weren't getting good night's sleep because they kept on getting up over and over and over again. So now we just have the one time we get up, and that's when they get up to come downstairs. And then, if both accidentally wake up, then I'm going to Eleanor's bed to sleep because it's a brand new mattress.
So
So
you haven't had them both wake up yet and come into the room?
no, they've last night actually they both woke up at the same time and came in the room.
No. But next time you're gonna go into their room and sleep on her mattress.
No, I have been doing that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
and it's nice too because it's upstairs where nobody else is, and it's carpeted, so it's quiet and it's warm.
He's already thinking maybe I should just move up there.
Right. No, unfortunately, the way our house is laid out, we have two upstairs and two downstairs as far as bedrooms,
Yeah.
and we are not comfortable leaving them downstairs by themselves, especially in the city. There's just certain
Mm.
scruples we have that we can't do
No,
that.
that's fair,
So,
and I think that's a good thing to cover up too, or point out is where do you put? I mean, where do you put them to bed? So my house, for example, or your house, you said you've got 2 rooms on the or on the lower floor, and then 2 in the upstairs. My house is like kind of like a single, or it's a double, it's a 2-story in a sense, but it's just 2 rooms upstairs, and then 1 master room on the main floor. Um,
Okay.
we let our boys sleep downstairs on the main floor because there's 3 of them. But then this is also something where Sam had always done habitually, where she's always slept upstairs next to the young children. I don't think, and at this point, there is no point in us trying to go into the master room and sleep down there because of how many children we do have in such a
Yeah.
sized house that we have as well. Now, granted, it works, but at the same time, it's just not. I wouldn't say beneficial for us to try to shift. We've already moved the all 3 boys into 1 room. Um, we had originally had when we had my other son, Sean, with us. He and Kane slept in the master bedroom downstairs. Arlo and Nico were upstairs with us. But we eventually just moved them all downstairs because we were nesting for Allie as well. So
Yeah.
getting that adjusted and having her sleep upstairs, especially since with breastfeeding, and when we do move her over into her room with the crib and whatnot, we want her to start developing that uh, habit of sleeping alone, right? Um, and everything. So that's why we keep her up there as well, so it's not much of a walk. Um, as far as kids sleeping with us, kind of in the same boat. We don't cast judgment. We're not judging you guys for however you get your kids to go back to sleep.
No.
Um, we Kane sometimes will come upstairs into our room, but we don't let him sleep in our bed. We let him sleep on our floor. Um, so it's not as bad. I think there should be maybe an age line drawn, but I'm sure your girls, like you said, they will probably come and break that habit of waking up in the middle of the night and coming into the room. I'm not saying that there's anything bad by it. Um, it's just like you said, you guys have bad backs, hip problems, things of that nature. So it's just more convenient for you guys to really keep them there at that point, rather
Right.
than even. I don't know. Maybe a suggestion is, if once they fall asleep, if you're not asleep, you can carry them back, or is that still an issue as well with the
No,
back
we're
end?
because we're asleep.
Oh, okay.
I
So
mean,
you all pass out after. Okay.
yep.
Okay. Well, then that. I mean, I wasn't sure if you guys were still awake when they do fall
No.
back asleep or whatnot. So, um, I'm sure that's something you would probably consider. Maybe
Yeah.
consider.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, but I mean,
But
it's
yeah, I
good.
mean, yeah, a key thing to remember for the parents who are okay with their children sleeping in their own bed, uh, be mindful of where that child is in your bed while you're sleeping. I mean, this is so freaking obvious, but you don't want to end up rolling over on the child when you sleep.
Hmm.
I know, I had to say it, but just be careful, please.
And it's really something you shouldn't. As much as people still might do this just to help with their infant, don't do it with an infant. Definitely don't do
The
it with an
bassinet's
infant.
right there.
Yeah, even though you claim you're like a sound sleeper or a still sleeper, don't do it. Um, it's not exactly the greatest thing. It doesn't help them break that uh, habit of sleeping with you,
Right.
honestly. But then again, it's the dangers of you possibly rolling over on your child and not knowing it. Um,
Or a pillow being moved on top of them. Or
yes,
a
exactly.
blanket being over their face.
Depending on how, yeah. I mean, I'm thankful that my daughter, I can put a blanket over her face, cover her up, and she'll take it down. So
Yes, she would.
she knows that the lights have gone out, basically. But yeah, no, just be
With a
mindful.
smile.
Honestly, be mindful of where you guys are going with what you're doing. Keep your infants close um, to you in your like rooms or whatnot. And as you feel comfortable moving them elsewhere, that's fine too. You can certainly do that. Uh, as far as napping, I kind of just let her like pass out in my arms, and then I'll try to set her down as well. Um, I don't know if you've like she loves going for walks, and that'll help her, that'll calm her down. That'll help her fall asleep when she's drowsy. Um, when it comes to naps, though, I also, depending on what I'm doing, might just let her sleep in my arms, or I will set her down on the couch. Just because that's most where we spend most of our time is the living room and whatnot. So I'll set her down on the couch and try to do some things, what there it may be. So I don't necessarily take her upstairs and put her in the bassinet or a crib right now. Uh, but that'll soon change as soon as she's uh, there and ready, and I've got some maybe other things, or just keep her door open and whatnot. But yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about for sleeping. Be smart. After a certain time, switch them over to their room. Like if they have a personal room, do that, or get them into their crib once they're once you're good and ready. I would say. No rush. I mean, they do grow up way too damn fast, or at least it feels too fast. But they're just only growing up a month at a time, so they're precious. We all know that. Um, let's talk some activities. Infant activities. What do you think?
Like tummy time?
Tummy time. I love tummy time. Heck, if I could do tummy time, which I can, I would do it over and over again. Tummy time. How important is tummy time?
That's debatable. I don't know.
What do you mean debatable?
It's pretty important to get the crawling reflex going.
Well, what about their head?
And to get their head muscles.
Their neck muscles.
Yep.
Yeah. So tummy time. I would say, every parent's going to know this. I'm sure even when you take your infant to the doctor for like their monthly checkup or whatnot.
Oh, they have those stupid checklists.
They kind of have like checklists where they hand you paperwork and saying, here's where your child should be at, or whatnot, or should maybe think about doing. Tummy time. They do have something like forms there for you as well, kind of letting you know tummy time is important so they can develop their neck muscles, and it'll help them get ready. And this is going to be a way to help them start learning to roll over as well from their stomach to their back. I mean, it's still, again, every child is different. They will pick up on it at their own pace. My baby girl here, for example, is starting to roll over, and she's scooting. So when we put her on her stomach, she scoots. So here, like, my wrist is her hind legs, for example, or her back, or like her butt, and my fingertips are her head. She'll scoot backwards. Like she'll go into the crawling position a little bit, but she'll start scooting backwards. It's really cute.
That's funny.
So, she's trying to get into the crawling motion right now. She does her rolls when she's on her stomach and everything. As far as tummy time though, I wouldn't say you don't want to start it too soon. Like a month is, I would say, a little too soon. Because they're not going to pick their head up. But as soon as they're starting to try to pick their head up and everything, that's going to be important. There are toys out there to help out as well. We actually bought, and you can find them through like it's a Lamaze brand, and it's actually really cool because it's like a little turntable, where they've got like a little turn chair thing that you can set them on their tummy time, and they can eventually turn themselves around to see different activities on the mat. Otherwise, you can take that away and then just put them on the mat for tummy time too. But tummy time, I would say, based on how old they are. So she should be getting like 6 minutes of tummy time, if anything, or 2 minutes of it for a 2-month-old. Things of that nature. All depending on how comfortable you are, or how soon they get, or how soon it is before they get fussy. So that's my thoughts on tummy time there. Don't start it too soon. Start it when you're comfortable, or when you start noticing they're trying to hold their heads up and everything, as they slowly try to develop their neck muscles. So they can do what she's doing right now and holding her neck up just fine. But so I would say it's a very critical thing for them to have, right? She agrees. So, um, another activity I wanted to mention to you as well, guys, is kind of like sitting up. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're talking about you a little bit.
Dad.
Uh, Practicing with sitting up or supported sitting, however you want to go about doing it. Even if it's like having them sit in your arms or such, do something with them. It's going to be one of those activities, especially when you start feeding them foods. As we mentioned in last week's episode, or part one, there are foods out there for certain, all those solid foods. I will say solid, air quotes, that they start eating, but that's based on them being support sitting, like support sitting level 1, support sitting level 2. Support sitting, which is like level 1, and then sitting level 2 is kind of without the support, or minimal support at that point. Having them practice that so they can, it's more for like their back muscles and such, and their hips and everything that they can develop. So developing that proper sitting posture. I would say it's very important. It's probably going to start happening around the 5-6 month that you want to start doing that. So you can start feeding them those solids around that 6-month period. So you can start maybe weaning them off of breast milk formula, even though they still need something to eventually drink. More, but you can slowly start weeding them off of what you need to, or however you want to go about doing that. Other activities, Jared, you got that you want to talk about for infants?
I think you got them. I think that's pretty much all you can really do. Read him a book. I don't know. I don't know. Try to play with him.
Can't believe I forgot that one. Yeah, trying to read to them. I mean, I guess that's also maybe some words. So the reading books, I would say, even though they may not necessarily always understand it, I think they will. The mind of an infant is very special in that point, or different, and from a science side of things, it's very intriguing. Is the word I was looking for. It's very intriguing, the mind of an infant, as she's eating my shirt.
Yeah, she's trying to eat.
Reading words to them, they will start understanding it if you keep doing it on a repetition. So saying, for example, if you find the book like their 100 first words or so, reading to them and saying "ball" 5 times or however long you do that, they will eventually develop that. She's getting tired. So reading, talking to them in adult language, not like baby or gibberish, is going to help them as well. If you try to talk to them like goo goo gaga or whatnot, it's not doing anything good. Good. Don't do that. As much as you like joking around about it with other people, like adults or kids, or like older kids, it doesn't help your baby develop their own speech. They need to hear your actual words, such as dad or dada, so they can start getting the idea of pronouncing those words, and getting those out. Now, having children or siblings, older siblings, certainly will help as well, as they are going to be constantly around that. And, keeping them, I would say, exposed to their siblings is great too. So, yeah, those are some of those activities. Hold on as I walk around a little bit. I know, pleasant, right? Pleasant. Woo, there we are. So, what other things you want to talk about here?
I think we covered a lot of it. As big of a responsibility as they are, they're kind of boring. They eat, they poop, they sleep. And that's the way it is until probably about a year. And then they start crawling and getting into mischief and then playing. But yeah, in the infant stage, really, it just when I remember when I was first getting into it, that wow, they really just eat, poop, sleep, and day in and day out. And this is when you just take the time, tummy time, read them a book, have the siblings interact with them, and they can read them a book, they can talk to them. It's also really good for them to hear your voice as well as your sibling's voice, so they really get that sense of who everybody is.
Oh yeah, most
Did you want
certainly.
to talk
And
about habits?
uh, I mean, their habits are kind of their own, right? They develop, they break. Right now, if you haven't noticed, she does have a finger habit, and I'm
Yep.
not just talking like her fingers in her mouth, but she likes taking my finger and shoving it in her mouth and gnawing on it.
Teething,
I think
right?
it's kind of what?
Teething.
So believe it or not, we have been convinced that it's teething, which it's possible that it is, but she hasn't really shown any teeth yet. So I think maybe her gums do bother her a little bit,
Yeah.
um, to the point where she does need something to gnaw on to help soothe it. For that though, I do recommend trying to find some like teething rings, like those freezing
Mm-hmm.
teething rings. Your fingers aren't necessarily a good habit, or things you want to stuff in a child's mouth or an infant's mouth, um, just because if you forget to wash your hands, now you're infecting your infant, and they're possibly going to get hand, foot, and mouth or
Right.
some sort of other disease. Since how did tell me, do you know how babies get their sense right away, like of an object?
No.
It's
Put it in their
through their
mouths.
mouth.
Okay.
Yeah. So like when they put a blanket in their mouth or they put a finger in their mouth or something, that is really them getting their sense of what it feels like.
Mm.
Because they haven't, as much as they can grab stuff and everything, their texture of what something feels like. For example, like if I were to get something bumpy, she's going to try to put that in her mouth. Everything is about a mouth at first. So to get the idea of a texture, flavor, and sense, or those senses at first, that's all going to be based on her mouth. So if you, again, if you have dirty hands, that's going to be bad. Now, I mean, it can help her eventually be like, nope, stop stuffing my hand or stuff in my mouth, right? But just try to keep that going and be safe about what you're giving your infant to put in their mouth. Um, Again, we are now going to once she starts becoming more mobile, such as crawling, and since she is scooting around, I've yet to actually put her on the floor and everything, except for when we're doing like mat time, like on a underneath a play mat or on a play mat. Um, I recommend just being careful, making making sure your floor is clean for your
Mm-hmm.
infant. So if they do start moving around, and let's say, for example, they find a small Lego, I'd say
Oh
that's one of
yeah.
the most dangerous things they can find and put in their mouth is a Lego piece, um, and start choking on it. So be mindful. If you have older kids that like to play and forget to clean up, do your due diligence, clean up the floor. We are actually, my wife and I are going to have to start cleaning up the floor, sweeping it on a daily basis, mopping probably every other day, things of that nature, so the floor is clean. Um, but I mean, sometimes I miss the good old days, folks, where we actually focused on, or we weren't too concerned about putting. Uh, Careful how I say this. We still put objects or kind of like infected things in our mouths, which help build our immune system. But
Right.
it wasn't like weeks old or anything like that, right? It was, 5 second rule is okay, and it's maybe has a little dirt on it, or and then we're still eating it. So we're growing our immune system that way rather than maybe how we are nowadays, where we wipe everything down and all of a sudden say, okay, it's good to go or whatnot. Um, but yeah, so the interaction with your siblings is very critical, if they do have any, so they can get an idea of that. Interaction with anybody that you know, that's going to be around them is going to be good too. I mean, my neighbors, they do interact with her from time to time, where she sees them. Maybe not so much on a consistent basis, but she's starting to get an idea of who they are to us. As my kids like to play with their kids, or my neighbors and I like to talk, have fires together. She's around them, so you want to introduce her or introduce your infant to your neighbors or whoever you want to trust, so your child can eventually come to know them and not have to, again, be careful when I say this, and just be cognizant of somebody and know that, oh, mom and dad trust these people, I can trust them too, or something of that line, rather than being like, oh, they're complete strangers. So it'll be different. I mean, it's all about how you want to raise them as well. So my neighborhood is pretty safe, and the people I know I can trust.
Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah. As far as the habits, though, I know I kind of went off and went back to the interactions. As far as habits, fingers and mouths, I guess it's really kind of like what is going into their mouth at that point. If they put anything in their mouths, or if they're trying to stick something up their nose. I don't know if that's necessarily ever going to happen to anybody, but that's something to be on the watch for. Some other habits as well. If you do breastfeed, playing versus actually feeding. Watch out for that, because if you don't stop that, it's going to be harder to break, I guess.
Yep.
I guess I'm not a mom, so I can't really speak on the breastfeeding habit or breastfeeding side of things. I just know that sometimes she's been known to play a little bit. So, I mean, there's things. Helping them develop habits, maybe, such as walking around like I'm kind of doing right now. It'll help soothe, but you also want to make sure that you're able to develop some sort of independency, where they're, again, less dependent on you to maybe fall asleep or always be in your arms when they need something. So, for example, my baby girl does love to be held. And as much as I love holding her, I want to break the habit a little bit. So I'm able to get things done around the house, or Sam's able to get things done around the house as well. Because when she's awake, sometimes it's hard, or all of a sudden we leave sight. So having the distance, or it's kind of like anxiety in a sense, but being away from your parents or something, I guess, can be somewhat scary. Or not having somebody in line that like in your line of sight, to trust, can be somewhat scary. It's okay to enforce it a little bit and be able to get things done. But to that point, though, there is a debate, and I'm on the side. I don't know if you've ever heard this debate, but I'm on the side that you can't actually spoil a baby. But I mean, some people think you can just by doing such things like this. I call it just tender love and care. Yeah. I just think sometimes there can be a little too much, or you need to start drawing a line so you can help them develop some sense of independence, or start somewhere with that. So I'm not saying I'm spoiling her. I'm saying that I want to help her to start building a sense of independence from me. But she'll still come to rely on me when she needs me. Because I don't want to be wrapped around my little girl's finger. So, that's what I got to say about infants. And things to watch out for, or things you can help with when it comes to developing your child. So they're able to grow and develop on their own as well, or start the healthy development.
Yeah, she's out. Yeah.
I know. I know she's out. I do this almost every night with her. Uh, but yeah, so what do you think? I mean, with that being said, I would love to talk about some dad jokes here. What do you think? You ready for some laughs?
Sounds good.
All right. So I was able to find some good ones here tonight, and I hope they're good for you. I know to me, I started laughing as I started scrolling through. But here's the first one. Jake, my mom is having a new baby. Oh, sorry, I said that wrong. The guy's name is Jake. Okay. Jake says, my mom is having a new baby. Joy says, what's wrong with the old one? So, what do you call a newborn baby?
An infant.
Anything you want.
Oh, God.
I tried to steal candy from a newborn baby, but he slapped my hand away. Turns out, he wasn't born yesterday.
Ah! That was good. That was good.
My Oh, I'm reading this one again and it got me. My friend's gambling is getting out of hand. He just bet his newborn son in our game of poker, and I thought I might have to raise him.
That's good.
Yep. Oh, where'd it go? There it is. Come here. I think we got time for one more. What do you think?
Yeah, one more.
I think the hospital accidentally switched our babies at birth. They're identical twins, so it's hard to be sure.
Oh my God. You know something? People think T-Rex dinosaurs, they can't clap because of their short arms, but really it's just because they're dead.
It's a historical joke, guys. Come on.
On that prehistoric note,
I'm fossilized now.
oh,
Yeah, I said it. I'm fossilized. So, no, on that, guys, that actually wraps up the infancy episodes, or the infancy talk here. Again, you know where to find us. If you have any comments, concerns, things of that nature, leashdads14@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook. Leave us a comment, however you want to do that. Twitter, you can Twitter me. My handle's at Darth Nomi. TikTok. There's also Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube as well. Also, big news. Well, we hit with the first episode or first part of this episode or this big episode. We hit what was it? Well over 100 views.
yeah.
So thank you very much.
Not very long, but we'll take it.
Hey, I will take 100 views plus. That's actually great news. So to us, it means good things. It can happen down the road as well. But again, leashdads14@gmail.com, Facebook, Leashed Dads Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, Leashed Dads, and yeah, again from there, if you have anything, you can also feel free if you do listen to us on Spotify, you can leave comments or answer those questions, things of that nature as well. YouTube, feel free to leave comments, like, and subscribe as well. That'll help us out down the road. And thank you guys again. We are the Leashed Dads, and we'll see you next week. Jared, as always, been an amazing host.